Hey y'all. I had, uh, as I mentioned last night, I'd recorded a, uh, a version of this before we met to buy some time. But having fielded some of your questions of last night, um, I thought I'd do it again and allow me to sort of address what I now know to be issues and concerns. Um, I think with regard to the syllabus, my expectation is that most of what's here is clear to you. Clearly, by the nature of the conversations we're having and the tempo of them, you sort of get what it is that I'm after, what it is that I want format wise. We are creating. It feels to me, recreating a seminar style moment. And that's definitely the goal. Um, so format wise, I think we've got it. I can say about objectives and so forth that in addition to sort of providing you with a framework to think about the previous century's contributions to our appreciation of understanding of literature, and also some sort of core defining examples of what takes place within that framework. I also want to say that an additional goal, and I think this is ought to be your goal as well, all the way through your career, is to mine other writings for what's available to you, to wrestle them down, understand them, and be prepared to raid them. In so many words, the Nobel Prize winning poet Derek Walcott said, um, eminently quotable and eminently true, that the best thing a writer can the best tool a writer can have is the willingness to steal. And he describes his own early adolescence in St. Lucia um, as an experience not entirely devoid of literature, but in which books were not um, big libraries, big collections of books were not Amazon, um, were not especially readily available. And so he taught himself to write poems in his case by copying out paragraphs. I can only imagine the work that went into this. Paragraphs from Faulkner and cutting them into lines and then effectively translating them from Mississippi to his island home. So with giving himself an opportunity to build in his own sensibility, and from that experience, learn to write poems. And he says if you look at his early work, early published work, you'll find Faulkner all over it. Not in a elusive way, um, as per Eliot, but in a really truly foundational way. So the idea is to give you all an opportunity to think about the previous century's contribution to the long story that is literature, and to give you some examples that you can be prepared to borrow from, to steal from. Um, but maybe even primary to that errand is the hope that you will encounter possibilities within literature that you didn't know existed before. Um, the best thing, I have many criticisms of writing programs as a consequence of being around them a long time and being alive during my experiences within them. The But the one thing I can be certain of is that writing programs is sort of structured learning opportunities that writing programs provide. And I want to say especially the program that you're in, because it requires you to take classes like this one, is you can expose yourself to the possibilities inherent in literature that you wouldn't necessarily encounter otherwise. Um, so part of our goal here is to entertain a wide array of literary possibilities. Style is one part of it, but also sort of the underlying philosophical, if you will, critical positions that require the writers we will look at to have chosen the modes that they work in. So file that under goals and objectives. Regarding the sort of day to day, I take it that the schedule of meetings, etc., that level of things is clear enough, and that you can read it, even if apparently I'm not gifted at dates and assigned readings relative to those dates. But I trust that you are. I trust that you are, especially because you were able to correct my claim that next week is dedicated not to Hemingway but to Robert Graves. So that leaves me with sort of the question of what we're doing on Blackboard and how we're doing it, and then the business of your writing assignments. And I will get there by way of this bit that I included, a note on like, provided by the writer Howard Norman. He attended a, God bless him, he attended a workshop I was running at Ohio University 2003. And this poor student said, as an act of criticism, that he liked the student work that was under consideration. And Howard, bless him, said in response to that, and with a gentility that only Howard possesses, I like it, I don't like it. What kind of babyish answer is that? The deal is, we're all in the fast lane of the highway to hell, and how will this work help you reckon with your life? It's a very Howard thing to say, but the point of including it in the syllabus is simply to say, in a less gentle Howard-like fashion, who cares if you like a given work or you don't like a given work? The point is as writers who are availing yourself to what's possible, the question is, how can you learn from each of the things that we encounter? What can you raid from it? How can it shore up or challenge your sort of preconceived ideas about who you are as a writer? All right, so the Blackboard business, I'm remaking this to say we'll dispense with the tedium of of the groups, however well-intentioned they were when I devised them, when I dreamt up the idea and devised them. It does seem probably more profitable if I kick off our discussions with a question to you all. So as I upload this to Blackboard, I will also be initiating this week's discussion. And with regard to the writings, the key issue is this. You have the greatest opportunity to benefit from this course and all your courses if you are focused on your own experience of, in this case, these readings. And with luck, that focus will present you with problems, with questions that you have, and also with things that, elements of composition, elements of a particular composition, how Virginia Woolf or how Hemingway or how John Barth deals with a particular matter that is worth that you feel is worth prolonged attention. And these writing assignments give you a way of formalizing that prolonged attention. That's it. So with regard to the first one, it's short, right? 3 to 5 pages, but pick up some question, follow up on some question, dig a little deeper into some insight, and do it with your own sense of your own interests in the foreground. So the example I give, has an investigation spurred by a question raised by "Goodbye to All That" would reach me the following week. So you're responsible not only for sort of identifying the territory that you wish to investigate further, and of course writing it, but you are also responsible for the due date, so that each of these short papers, one by each of you, will be deliverable to me the week after the conversation about, right, the given reading. Why the week after? Because I want you to have the benefit of the conversation to begin the sort of formal effort of pursuing your question or developing your insight. Perhaps your experience of a reading will be sufficiently complicated by what's uncovered during the discussion, etc. So I want you to have the benefit of the discussion before committing yourself on the page. And the second assignment is just the same thing except bigger. So you'll want to be, as we go along, you'll want to be attentive to your own questions, your own problems, again, your own insights, to the nature of the things that you feel benefit you, and by the end of the semester, have codified your thinking about whatever those questions or insights are in the form of this longer 5 to 10 page paper. The one request about the second one, which is also a distinction from the first, is that before you begin writing it, before you begin committing yourself to the page, check in with me. Right? My role in that business will not be to correct or deny you the opportunity to pursue your own thoughts, your own interests, but simply to help you refine your subject should it need refining. And experience says that's checking in with me is a beneficial step along the way. So those are the issues that I think are deserving of my attention here, of your attention as you receive this. And I want to say that's that. Carry on. And so far, so good, by the way. I like what we're up to. May it continue.